Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is called integrating change into identity. So this one's interesting, and I think I want to mention about uh, as I go through this. In fact, let me start going through it, and then I'll talk about. I want to talk about what it's not, just to make it clear, because mindfulness is not denial, and I think that needs to be said very clearly as kind of a disclaimer as we go into this. Mindfulness is about engaging things as they are. Acceptance is one of the 9 attitudes of MBSR, and it's just so critical that we do see things as they are, and we don't put blinders on. We don't put fog there. We don't try to make whatever it is that's going on disappear, and that we can be honest with ourselves. And self-compassion is one of the keys to that. So non-judging, right? More of the 9 attitudes. Non-judging, seeing things as they are. Acceptance, also seeing things as they are without putting a spin on it. So just keeping those things in mind as we go through this talk about integrating change into identity. So last time we talked about resistance to relapse, how we're recovering quickly from the times that we slip. Today is how do we make sustainable transformation, and how do we integrate it into who we are, not just what we're doing. And so this very appropriately is the last section here, because you can't integrate something into who you are until it actually starts becoming a part of you. And I guess that's the kind of the real question here is when does that integration process begin? And this is the issue with the language that we use when we're not going down the path. It becomes denial. We start to believe that something is happening that it's not, and this is not helpful, and it's not healthy, in fact, to our mental well-being. It's something that is going to, in fact, be a barrier to change instead of being something that can encourage change. So that's something to keep in the back of the mind as we talk about this today. So real change, so I'll just say it again. Sustainable transformation happens when new behaviors become a part of who we are, and they're not just what we do. So real change lasts when it aligns with how we see ourselves. So the temporary behavioral change could be, I'm trying to meditate. Whereas the integrated identity would say, I am someone who lives mindfully. Right? So that's that shift. So my meditation is changing me. And I think that's the important thing about, probably the most important piece about changing identity is this, that we are not static individuals. And so I just kind of want to bring that concept of impermanence here, that whatever it is, that each breath you take, each moment, you are not the same. You are in constant shifting, a constant kind of evolution. And so that is important to recognize, that it's not like, I'm trying to meditate, and then the opposite of that is I am meditating all the time, right? I'm someone who lives mindfully. It's that shift from focusing on the effort, not I'm trying to meditate, but the embodiment of our meditation practice. Mindfulness becomes part of your self-concept instead of just a task. So we build this identity through the repetition. And I kind of like this kind of framing here is We talk about neuroplasticity. Everything we think, do, and pay attention to has an effect on us and who we are. But here's a really nice way to put it, I think, is that every action is a vote for the type of person you want to be. So it's literally, like what we think, do, and pay attention to literally changes the physical structure of the brain. So you can see it that way. Every action, and not only every action, every thought that we have is a vote for the type of person that you want to be. So know that just inclining the mind, changing the inclination of the mind itself, and that's one of the reasons to practice mindfulness, is we begin to become aware of what the natural inclination of the mind is. So we see what happens, what thought it is that's bubbling up out of our subconscious. We see as well how often that happens, how disciplined we can be. And to be honest about it, that's the great thing about mindfulness practice, is that as you're meditating, you know that your intention is staying the same throughout the meditation practice. I'm trying my best to stay focused on my breath, for example. And we notice that doesn't happen, that the mind does wander. And the mind wanders to all kinds of different things. So as we notice that is happening, we see that we are not the ones in the driver's seat. If we were in the driver's seat, if we were totally in control, then we wouldn't have any slip-ups. We would stay focused on our breath 100% of the time. And so you can see that this is how we operate in other habits as well. So it really is about all of that past history, right? We are not the past version of ourselves, but those past versions of ourselves still exist inside this neural circuitry. So every action is a vote for the person that you want to be. Every time you sit and you meditate, you reinforce, I am someone who takes time to pause. So this is it. It's not denial. It's the integration of identity into action. So we're seeing, as we take the actions, what is the effect that it's having on our identity. Each time you choose water over sugary beverages, I am someone who cares for my body. So small, consistent actions carve identity more deeply than one-time big efforts. Brush your teeth every day, twice a day at least. Don't brush your teeth once on Sunday for 30 minutes. It's not going to be nearly as helpful as that daily teeth brushing routine, just like meditating every day for 5 minutes is more powerful than meditating once on Sunday for 30 minutes. So our identities can evolve with our awareness. And I'll just share my personal experience in meditation was that I felt frustrated when it came to trying to change behaviors. I just thought it was impossible. Just seemed like there was no way that I was going to change, that these things are just set in stone, and no matter how much I tried to change, I found that I kept falling back on old patterns. And so mindfulness was the key to unlock the door of true change. Because why? Right? What is so special about mindfulness? Why is mindfulness the foundation? Because mindfulness gave me two things. One, expansion of the space between stimulus and response. So instead of having no moment that the stimulus and the response are right next to each other, I don't have a choice as to what I'm going to do, because that there's no time between the moment that the stimulus happens and my reaction happens automatically. Mindfulness is something that allowed that space to increase just a little bit, just a few seconds, or even 1 second is enough to start to see what's happening. And then that's the number two thing that happened, is that awareness. Awareness in my daily life began to grow, began to flourish. I started to see I remember talking to my dad about it, calling this version of me Ryan Prime, right? It's the Ryan that sits back here and watches everything happening and can see me doing all the stupid things that I was doing. I mean, maybe that's, I don't encourage you to use that language for yourself, but just to make a point, right? To see those things, to see myself and go, wow, look at me doing this unhelpful thing, you know? So interesting to see what mindfulness can do. Happy birthday, Alexa. Thanks for joining us today on your birthday. So reflect mindfully at the end of the day. Notice moments when you embodied your identity. Be gentle. Integration is gradual. It takes patience. Mindfulness attitude number 2. Identity changes through repetition, not through perfection. So know that every mindful choice is a statement about who you are becoming. So I'm going to paste this quote in the chat as well. So beyond mindfulness, notice, let's use procrastination, the example that we've been using throughout this unhelpful habits series. So what is the story that we tell ourselves? And this also links to self-compassion, right? And I just love how beautifully all of this stuff flows together. I'm always behind, right? Is the procrastination identity. I'm disciplined and capable is the identity of momentum. And again, so this is where I'll talk about denial as well. So the key shift is I need to stop procrastinating. Maybe this is a better way of saying it. Instead of I need to stop procrastinating, I'm becoming a person who gets started easily, right? And so how is this not denial? Is by living it, by actually doing it, by making these small changes. Again, this is why this lesson comes at the end, because there's an assumption that we've been building all of this stuff in the past, that we are, instead of, we do notice when we're scrolling for 30 minutes. And we do take 5 minutes, set a 5-minute timer to start working on the tasks that we want to work on. And, I mean, I don't know about you, fellow procrastinators, but when that 5-minute timer's up, there are many times that I'm actually kind of in the flow of what I'm doing. So instead of stopping after 5 minutes, I find the biggest hurdle is actually getting started on those things that are difficult. So we can see the loop, the task, the relief that comes from procrastinating, the guilt that comes afterwards, the stress, the additional avoidance, this loop that keeps happening. Underneath the story is the pattern of thought. As we say to ourselves, I'm lazy, I'm not organized, I work the best under pressure. When we interrupt that identification, the space opens to choose the new response, right? So that it's like that identity that's happening automatically, that story that we're telling ourselves. You may notice with mindfulness when that story is coming up, and I have to say, as I've been working on my own, as I've been working on procrastination, that's something that I have noticed, is that story is coming up when I'm trying to engage with something, when I notice the avoidance. In fact, that's even it. It's not even the story as much as it is noticing, oh, here's that avoidance. Oh, I see I have, 100 new emails this morning, right? Like that, the feeling inside my body when I think about engaging with that. And so is it possible to notice that in a more neutral way, right? So not noticing. So when I see the 100 emails, I immediately get, I mean, this is where Ryan Prime exists, right? So I see those 100 emails, I immediately get a tightness in my chest and maybe a shortness of breath. And so Ryan Prime notices, oh, hey, there's the tightness in the chest. There's the shortness of breath. This is the anxiety that comes along with procrastination, and I don't have to be controlled by that. So as I notice that, I can start to make a different choice. I can be more rational about it, and I can set my timer for 5 minutes, and I can go ahead and start working on that task. So the news story, instead of this one here, I'll just add just a little bit more in here. I'm someone who takes small, steady steps. Ryan Prime is a superhero, and then that's what's amazing is we all have that superhero inside of us, that all we have to do is unlock it. It's there. And gosh, when I first started meditating, it was just like, it just felt like a superpower. There's just some new thing that's been there all the time that for some reason I just didn't have access to until I started meditating. And that was amazing. So I'm someone who takes small, steady steps. The old pattern is wait for motivation, which who knows how long that happens. The new pattern is start with a single mindful minute. One breath, one sentence, one action. So mindfulness is what holds it together. It's the awareness that helps you see the identity shift in real time. Each time you catch the procrastination and choose presence, you are literally rewiring your self-perception in your brain. So, okay, this is the last thing I've got so many little lines that I've got for today that I like. I'm just going to post this one here. The most powerful habit you can build is believing you're capable of change. And here's MBSR attitude number 4. MBSR attitude number 4, trusting in yourself. So through your practice, I'm just going to put the course up one more time. Through your practice, you can build trust in yourself, and you can realize that the most powerful habit you can build is believing that you're capable of change. And it doesn't have to be an empty one. It's not empty affirmations. I mean, the difference between identity and affirmations is that affirmations is a kind of convincing of myself that I'm something that I'm not. I'm strong, I am capable, right? These things that may have zero evidence behind them. So this is different in that that we can build this new identity because we've already exhibited those things. And mindfulness practice has been for me, and maybe it is for you too, the key that unlocks the door to change. So just before we get into the meditation, what's the difference between denial and awareness? Denial says there's no problem here, right? Mindfulness says, yes, there's difficulty here and I'm willing to look at it. Mindfulness turns the light on, lets us see more clearly what's going on, even if what we see is messy or uncomfortable. Denial keeps us in the dark, hoping the discomfort goes away if we don't name it, or if we name the opposite of that. That is the difference between affirmations and discovering and uncovering the identity. Seeing what we already are, or what we already are becoming through our new habits. So again, this is why this lesson is at the end. So when we integrate change into identity, we're not denying our old patterns. We're acknowledging them fully and seeing them exactly as they are. And then remembering that our old patterns are not us and they don't define us. We are not the same person we were in the past. We are constantly changing. And it's not pretending to be calm when we're anxious. It's not giving ourselves a mantra of calm and saying, I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm, when I'm not calm, right? It's noticing anxiety and remembering that we have the capacity and the capability to be calm. We've experienced calm in the past. We know what calm feels like. So, seeing clearly, but not completely identifying with whatever that setback might be. Okay? Thanks, Annette. And thanks, Angie. Angie says, search for the hero inside yourself. Lyric from Song by M People. Thanks, Angie, for sharing. All right, let's get into today's practice. So we're going to do about 15 minutes of focused attention, of mindfulness of breathing. And the idea here is to build that superhero inside yourself, to notice what's going on moment by moment. And that's one of the reasons why we choose stillness. So seated practice is helpful because, well, for one reason, is that we let go of voluntary action. So as we sit in stillness, you'll notice that there's literally nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. We are here in this moment. And we can begin to fully immerse ourselves in this moment. So first, notice the body. We are not disembodied consciousnesses floating through the universe. We have a physical body. Our physical body lets us know that it's here by its physical sensations, which are present all the time, even when you're sleeping. If somebody touches you when you're sleeping, it might wake you up. It's because your senses never turn off. Your awareness of your body, always here. So notice, what's the face feel like? What do the shoulders feel like? I guess every time I name these, I kind of want to move my head around, roll my shoulders, kind of gently encourage my body to relax a little bit. Then my attention gets to my belly. And it's just impossible not to notice how my belly is moving with my breath. So, can you keep your attention there? So, beginner's mind, noticing as if it were the very first time what it feels like to be breathing. What are the nuances of noticing the breath? Can you feel your t-shirt moving on the skin of your belly? Maybe you can notice the pressure your diaphragm puts on your internal organs as you breathe in. Have you ever noticed that before? What happens to the intestines when you breathe in? So, whatever is going to help you stay focused on the breath. It's this kind of gentle curiosity. Expansion on the inhale, contraction on the exhale. Often, as we meditate, the inner monologue wants to come in and say something, wants to be part of the story. Could be something like, I'm not doing this right, or when is the next part of guidance that Ryan's going to talk, or thinking about things we have to do later today. Just can you notice that inner monologue when it comes up? Gently, non-judgmentally. This thinking happens because that's how the mind works. Mind loves thinking about ourselves, thinking about what's going on with me right now. You can notice it. And through that noticing it, it's like touching a soap bubble. The bubble pops. Ah, I'm thinking about this. Let me return to the breath, which is what I'm trying to do. So back to those nuances, back to observing the breath as if it were the very first time you notice that you're breathing. about you, but I find my mind loves to go to all kinds of different topics. And so as I notice, I can gently let go and bring my mind back. And so we'll spend the final 5 minutes of this time together practicing in silence. Soon we're going to draw this practice to its natural close. But first, just let me invite you to say to yourself, well, first, let me invite you to bring intention, to bring mindfulness into the rest of your day. So what you're cultivating here now can be brought with you into the rest of your day, this awareness, so that you can start to notice when these unhelpful habits are cropping up. And so let me invite you to say to yourself, I am a person who lives mindfully. That's all you need, is that intention that gives you enough to be able. And we've meditated together. I am a person who lives mindfully. I'll close practice with 3 rings of the bell. Okay, thanks. Thanks, everybody. It's a great topic. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because I know how I feel about affirmations. I just think, we've had this discussion on this chat before. So what's the difference between shaping the new identity and speaking affirmations to ourselves? So, that could be a future topic if it's one that's interesting. So how'd it go? What was your meditation practice like today? And how's it going on your habit change? So just to let you know, this is the final lesson on habits. So we've done, let's see, it's 16 or so. It was done about 16 lessons on habits. So if you've missed any, the recordings are all up on the recording place, which I cannot mention. So if you want to go back and revisit any of this, it's all up there, with auto-generated subtitles if that's what you need. So you can feel free to revisit whatever you like, if this series was helpful for you in whatever way. But it was this kind of progression, right? Helpful habits, how to cultivate those; unhelpful habits, how to purge those, and yeah, that's where we are. And so we'll shift naturally. I've kind of built a natural shift from here into the 9 attitudes, so that, and I'm doing a few bonus sessions just because I'm just trying to drive a little bit more traffic while it's still newish to this course, which I don't know. I've spent months making this course, and I feel really proud of it. So I hope you'll give it a try and see how it lands for you. And I'd love to hear your feedback as well. So do check it out, please. Anything else? Thanks, Jean. Thanks, Alexa. Thanks, Angie. Thank you, Oleg. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I do see some new faces. Thanks, Sharon, for being here. Thank you, Lillian. Thanks, Jill. Thank you, Mariano in California. Come to Ryan's Daily Mindfulness Circle on Insight Timer groups. I think someone is posted in there. Unfortunately, I can't. You can guess. That's what it is. Just guess where they are. If you can guess where they are, that's probably where they are, because I can't tell you where they are. Which is cool. I'm totally cool with Insight Timer's policy. I think that makes sense, to not mention external websites here on Insight Timer. But yeah, here's what I want. Okay, I'll tell you, the ideal situation is that Insight Timer starts letting you see the replays. They exist. I can see all of the replays of my events. Why can't you see it? Feedback to Insight Timer. Hey, I want to see replays of the live events. Can you make that possible for us? Then I won't have to put them anywhere external to this site after it's done. Okay. If today's session was helpful for you, you can always donate. That's another way that you can help me out. So I do appreciate you. And Jean says, and how the bipolar brain is wired differently and how mindfulness helps create new neural networks. Thank you. Thanks, Jean, for your donation. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. And I'll be back on Tuesday to start this new little mini series. I'll be besides my normal time, I'm going to be doing broadcasts at like 3 p.m. Singapore time and 8:30 p.m. Singapore time. So that could be if you're in Australia, that could be kind of midday or the evening, and if you're in the U.S., well, that 3 p.m. for me is kind of like the middle of the night for you, and 8:30 p.m. for me is morning time for you. So check it out. I mean, that the Insight Timer auto changes the time zone for you, so check that out. Thanks, Jill, so much for your donation. And we're gonna close practice the way that we do. Then Deb asked the next series. So it's not an Ask Your Guides event. I'll be on Ask Your Guides in December. The next series is about the 9 attitudes. So we're going to be kind of weaving into the 9 attitudes, and let's see. I haven't posted them all yet. But yeah, so 9 attitudes in daily life is going to be the 14th of October. The 16th of October is trusting the process of change. So again, it's not like we're totally closing the book on change. We're still bringing some of that back. The 28th of October is letting go and moving forward. And then on the 30th, so there is a week where I'll be off that it's my kids' fall break, so I'm taking them somewhere. And then I'm back for 2 more days, October 28th and October 30th, before I go on my silent retreat in Hong Kong at the Zen monastery. So that's what's coming up. I'll be posting those later today so that you'll be able to see. I'm sorry, Rachel. I don't know why Apple has this. And thanks, Jean, for your help. Do take the course. That really is probably the best, the most helpful thing that you can do, if you haven't yet. And let me know. I'd love to hear how it goes. All right, it's time for me to go. It's been a pleasure as always. And like I said, I'll post the new live events today, so look out for those. And look forward to seeing you next time. So let's close practice as we do, with some well wishes to ourselves and well wishes to everyone else. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all human beings, everyone, everywhere, all sentient life throughout the universe, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again, everybody. Do take care. Hope to see you again soon. Until next time. Bye-bye.